What a show we have today. My goodness, this next story is fantastic. It's so funny. So, as we've talked about, one of the core claims in the effort to portray Biden as corrupt by the Republican Party that has been central to what they're now using to justify an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden is the idea that as vice president, he, because of a bribe or just to help his son who worked at Burisma, pushed for the firing of the top prosecutor at the time, Victor Shokin. And Victor Shokin, the story goes, was investigating, was about to get Burisma where Hunter Biden worked. And so Joe Biden came in and pushed the president of Ukraine at the time, Petro Poroshenko, to fire Victor Shokin, again, the top prosecutor, the prosecutor general. And that was to protect Hunter Biden, or maybe because Joe Biden was bribed to do it by Burisma, by his son's company. And this makes no sense for tons of reasons. One of those reasons is about to play out on Fox News in the most hilarious fashion, where Brian Kilmeade is humiliated because he's been desperately pushing this idea. But as we've walked in the past, just to kind of lay it out again, Victor Shokin was known to be very corrupt. That was the stance of our European allies and the U.S. government stance more broadly. The Obama administration had that official stance on Victor Shokin, and thus VP Joe Biden was just following through with a very logical foreign policy step based on his role overseeing the broader anti-corruption measures in Ukraine that the U.S. was pushing for. And so that, number one, makes it hard to push the idea that he was bribed to do it. And also, we later learned that Burisma actually wanted Victor Shokin to be in that position because he was corrupt, and that was beneficial for them. But still, the idea is pushed. Again, central to the whole Biden impeachment inquiry thing is no, that's not true. Biden was bribed to do it, or Biden was helping his son and was in cahoots with Burisma. It makes no sense. And the former president of Ukraine, I'm having so many computer troubles today. Here we go. The former president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, went on Fox News and responded to a question by Fox News host Brian Kilmeade about an interview that Brian Kilmeade did with Victor Shokin, where Victor Shokin obviously goes, I wasn't corrupt. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Biden was the corrupt one, and he was doing this because I guess he was bribed or for some bad reason. And Poroshenko, who was the one who fired Victor Shokin, goes, huh? That guy's crazy. It's so good. Ready, set, go.
I had a chance to talk to Victor Shokin, a man who says he was friends of yours, who you asked to come back and help out during the transition after the previous regime. Here's what he said on why he was fired by you. Listen.
Poroshenko fired me at the insistence of the then Vice President Biden because I was investigating Burisma. There were no complaints whatsoever, no problems with how I was performing at my job, but because pressure was repeatedly put on President Poroshenko, that is what ended up in him firing me.
Is that why he...
I want to repeat, Biden did pressure the Ukrainian government, specifically Poroshenko, to fire Victor Shokin, but for good reason and not because he was corrupt, is what the evidence shows.
He got fired because of the $1 billion and the former vice president, now president?
First of all, this is the completely crazy person. Yes. This is something wrong with him. Second, there is no one single word of truth. And third, I hate the idea to make any comments and to make any intervention in the American election. We have very much enjoyed the bipartisan support, and please do not use such person like Shokin to undermine the trust between bipartisan support in Ukraine.
Right. What do you mean? He's not your friend?
I don't see him maybe 4 years or something at all, and hate the idea to have him because he play very dirty game, unfortunately.
Okay, so that is not true. He didn't get fired because of Joe Biden.
He was fired because of his own statement, and if he do not do that, next day Ukrainian parliament will fire him with that.
All right. Mr. President, thanks so much. Stay safe. Best of luck along the way in this counterinsurgency. Hope you make some big progress through the...
And what everyone's been pointing out is Brian Kilmeade is so defeated because he did that interview with Victor Shokin. He was hoping another bombshell moment could take place where Poroshenko could bolster his narrative. But now you're saying you would rather trust, rather than all the evidence I just laid out, the one guy, Victor Shokin, who has all of the interest in the world to lie about this issue. He was the corrupt one. So of course he's going to say, no, the story that you're pushing makes sense where I'm the hero who was going to take down Burisma for their corrupt acts. And I wasn't corrupt at all. There were no complaints about my job. Whereas Poroshenko validates what we've been talking about for some time now, which is Victor Shokin was corrupt. So yes, Biden should have put pressure for him to be ousted. You don't want corrupt leaders in countries in such important roles. And we were at that moment doing multiple things, trying to get the corruption out of Ukraine with a lot of corruption that was present. So then there, Poroshenko says he's a crazy person. He's not saying a word of truth in what you just showed me. And don't let this drama get in the way of trusting. I think what he was saying was the Ukrainian needs. There was bipartisan support. Now all these conspiracy theories about Biden and maybe he's supporting Ukraine because of Zelensky having the Hunter Biden laptop with the the dirt on Joe Biden. So he's forcing him to help Ukraine in this moment. Don't let all of these conspiracy theories and political attacks get in the way of what we really need right now. The meaningful discussion when it comes to Biden and Ukraine, which is Biden needs to keep supporting Ukraine as they're defending themselves amid Russia's invasion of their sovereign country. And it's such a correct message there. It's so funny that Brian Kilmeade seems so discombobulated. Wait, so you're saying that I'm not right? This is not how this interview was supposed to go. And is left again depending on the word of a guy who was widely regarded by the international community as corrupt. But sure, all of them were lying. Victor Shokin, the allegedly corrupt one, is telling the truth. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.